So I'm back with another video, vinyl finds. These are the ones that I've picked up recently, and it goes a little deeper than that. I actually have some Discogs advice too. I'm Chris. This is Late Night Dead Wax. So welcome back. I started this off by saying that I had a little Discogs advice, and when it comes to Discogs, if you're not using it to log your records, it is a great place to do that. There's also buy and sell stuff there. Not that I could ever part with a record, but I do buying on there. And there's also other features that work really well on the app. And I highly recommend everybody that collects records has an account. It's free. Um, with that being said, there is the list function, which I only have a few lists. Well, basically, you can put any record into that list and you can title it. Probably the one that I use the most is my top 10 most wanted. It makes it real easy for if I'm at a record show or a flea market or a record store or even just kind of riding around online and seeing what I can find out there, something on whatnot. Anyway, there's a plethora of places that I buy records, but it's always nice to be able to get back to that top 10 list and see exactly what I'm most looking for. And I went on vacation just about a month ago and was in Toronto, and I just killed it with knocking stuff off my top 10 list. And that's what this Vinyl Finds is. So let's get started. So the first record that I got recently is Dirtylooks, Cool from the Wire. This has been on my top 10 list for a very long time. It's not a crazy expensive one, less than $100, and it's one that I found on eBay, and I found a really good deal on it. It's actually a promo copy. It sounds incredible. I didn't think I'd be able to pick one of these up in the wild, so I grabbed it on eBay and took one off my top 10 list. And these next three I picked up on that trip to Toronto. I went to Sonic Boom Records. It is an amazing record store. And I was on vacation, so I had some time to kill, and I think I spent about 3 hours in there and probably didn't see 10% of it. But I did find three records there that were on my top 10. This one here, Megadeth, So Far So Good, So What. I've never seen it in the wild, of course, now that I picked it up. And, it's not an expensive record. It was like $30, but now that I have it, I've seen it three times since then. But it was a big one to get in my collection to get my Megadeth collection up to three. But yeah, I still got a few more. But this one was the one that was on my top 10 list. This one was the one that this is my favorite Megadeth record. So Megadeth, So Far So Good, So What. One more off that top 10. So the next one that I also picked up in Toronto, if you watched my last video that I uploaded, it was all about this band. The band is Durry, and this record is Suburban Legend. This did not spend much time on my top 10 list. Luckily, they had it at Sonic Boom in Toronto, and it was a good deal. This is a great record. It wasn't going to spend a lot of time on my top 10 most wanted, but like I said, that list makes it easier for when I'm out looking, if it's the ones I want the most. And this was definitely one of them, Suburban Legend by Durry, off that top 10 list. All right, so the next one, this one blew my mind. It's been on my top 10 list for a good 5 or 6 years. It's a local band from where I live in Lancaster. It was their first album. I'm talking about Suddenly Tammy, the self-titled. This came out in 1993. I live in the town where this started, and they had a major label album after this, which was really good, and that was a little easier to find. I've never seen this record. I've asked at record stores. I've looked online. On Discogs, these go for like $200. I happen to be, in Toronto, a whole nother country, and happened to be going through the S's, and I never ever thought I would see this, and I picked this up for $10. $10 Canadian. This is an amazing record. If you ever see it, grab it. But this was a huge one for me to be able to get off of my top 10 list. So suddenly, Tammy. So that's it for vacation. That's all the records I got while out of the country on vacation. I got back, still had a day left off, and happened to be out with my sister and my wife and just playing around on my phone. And I looked on eBay, and the number one record on my top 10 list has been there since I made the list. It is Pretty Hate Machine Sessions. This is the Nine Inch Nails. This is a bootleg. This was never an official release. It's the outtakes and early mixes and early recordings of some of the songs from Pretty Hate Machine. And I never thought I'd see this. It's been pressed in limited numbers over the years. I can't say original because I don't know how many times it's been pressed, but to get one of these, you're usually looking at $300-$400. Somebody reissued it once again unofficially, and I was able to pick it up on eBay for $30. So I got number one off of my top 10 list. This was a huge find for me. This is super cool if you're a Nine Inch Nails fan, listening to some of the different versions of these songs and how they evolved by the time we got Pretty Hate Machine, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. But this was a huge find for me, and the top 10 list, number one off. Another one that had been on my top 10 most wanted list for a while. It's not a real expensive record, but it was a limited pressing, and it's the Jeff LaBar solo album. Anybody knows me knows that I have a soft spot for all of the hair metal stuff, and especially Cinderella. That was one of my favorite bands in the 80s, and this was Jeff LaBar's only solo album. He was the guitarist for Cinderella. He passed away a couple of years ago, but this is a solid album, and it's available for streaming. If you like that kind of stuff, definitely check it out. But these are kind of hard to come by, and it has been on my top 10 list for a long time, and I just kind of fell upon it and found somebody online, a record store that was selling them for like $30. So this was a big pickup for me. Jeff LaBar was an amazing guitarist, and I just love Cinderella. This is kind of an extension of that, so it is a great one to have in my collection. So the last record in this Vinyl Finds video is a band called Wildside. They are one of the glam bands, hair metal bands from the era that kind of landed a little bit late. It was 1992 when this record came out. It was after the wave, but this is a great album. I totally missed this back in 92. I had already kind of stopped paying attention, and this one slipped by. But the people that do love this genre, they have been wanting this reissued on vinyl for a long, long time. So when I heard that they were reissuing it, I had to get a copy, and it came from the recommendation of so many other vinyl channels talking about this finally being reissued. This is a great record. If this was 5 years earlier, we'd be talking about Wildside reunion tours in stadiums, maybe. I don't know. It is a good record though, and it just kind of missed the timing wasn't there. But it was cool that it got reissued, and it's on beautiful red wax and sounds incredible. You can stream a version of this. There's a 30th anniversary version that's out on Spotify. I went and listened to it, and I was like, yeah, as soon as I see that, I'm picking it up. And I grabbed this one just last week at Record Connection in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. Awesome record store. If you've never been there, definitely check it out. But Wildside, this one wasn't on my top 10 list for an extended period of time, but this was the 7th one off of my top 10 list that I was able to remove and add to my collection this month or so. So I've had quite a good run. All right, so that's it. That's 7 records that I picked up recently. This is my daughter, Anya. She's always on my top 10 list. But yeah, 7 off of my top 10 list. I I highly recommend anybody that uses Discogs uses the list function because it makes life so much easier. And now I got to put 7 more on my top 10 list. So I'm going to get at it. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
So one last thing that I wanted to do, starting with this video, is kind of give back to the vinyl community. And I thought it would be cool if at the end of every video I would point people in a direction of other great channels. And I'm sure you're probably, if you found my little channel, you're probably watching this, but I want to shout out the Vinyl Den. Nick and Ian do an excellent job. Uh, Nick does the upcoming releases every week, all great videos, always great content, and there'll be a link in the description. But if you like this, maybe check out another one of my videos. See you next time.
Sorry, I didn't have much to say.